I'm Bill Corcoran Jr., and I'm your host for the On the Stacks podcast. Today, I'm chatting with Ashley Raspen, owner of Buttinhead Farms. What's up, podcast episode 53, On the Stacks podcast in the Blue Door studio. Welcome to the podcast, Ashley.
I am thrilled to be here.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. And Tessa.
Yeah. And
Go-tress. Sexy Go-tress.
Sexy Go-tress.
She is sweet.
She's dressed a little flashy today.
She is. She's a sexy beast.
Yeah, but we actually have a real goat with us today.
We do. We have Tessa.
Tell me about Tessa.
Tessa is freaking fantastic. She's one of our baby goats at Buttonhead Farms. She's pretty chill. She came for the ride today.
Awesome.
She's going to probably go to bed soon.
Well, thanks, Tessa, for coming.
She is so great to be here.
So let's start a little bit before we talk a little bit about Buttonhead Farms and the awesome goat yoga that we did on the stacks today, which was a first, and I'm kind of proud of it. I think I need to do a little bit of work on my poses. I'm still sweating. I am still sweating. So tell me a little bit about your background before leading up to. I know you have a background in fitness and everything. So tell me a little bit about your history and your background.
My history is I wasn't always into fitness. It was something that I had 2 children. I became a stay-at-home mom, and I had a friend that was in her 60s, and she was like the 60-year-old woman at the playground, roller derbying around, in her shorty shorts. And we were friends, and we were going to a breakfast, and she looked at me. It was my birthday, and she looked at me, and she said, "Ashley, you're getting fat." And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to go out with you anymore." I was so offended. And she's like, "No, I'm coming from a good place. I just want you to realize you're gaining weight and you should, maybe start to work out." So I calmed down a little bit. I'm like, maybe she's right. I was starting to pack on the pounds after having the 2 kids, and they were back to back. They were 2 kids. They're literally 18 months apart. So I started doing Zumba. Kind of fell in love with that. I fell in love with the way you could change your body. Like, you're in control of your body. So I was addicted after that. I started doing all sorts of programs, and I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was kind of leading down the road where what was I going to do next? So I came to that path where my kids were going to kindergarten, and I was like, do I want to go back into the medical field, which is what I did prior, or do I want to start something new? So this insanity certification came up in my email, and I never did insanity before, but I knew I had a passion for fitness. I love changing the body. People were coming to me and asking questions, what are you doing? How are you losing this weight? What can I be doing? So I just had that passion to help people, guide them. So we didn't have a lot of money. My husband was the only working person in the family. We had 2 kids, and I went down to my father-in-law and I said, there's this opportunity. What do you think? It's quite expensive, but I'd have to go out of town and get certified. And, what do you think? And he said, "Ashley, I'm going to give you the money. I want you to do it." So I was so excited. I signed up for it. It was my first trip out of town, out of Little Sweet Valley. And I grew up in Courtdale. I married my husband when I was 20 and moved to Sweet Valley where his family lived. And that's, I was leaving the little town of Sweet Valley, went to York, Pennsylvania, stayed overnight and got certified. And when I came home, I was so proud of it. It was like the first thing I did, in the fitness industry. And I immediately got hired by Danko's in Plains. And that's where I had my first fitness job. So through the years, I was thrilled. I got my $20 bill. I showed up at the gym, bounced around, did my little thing. I was thrilled. It was something I was so proud of. And then I got pregnant years later. Surprise. Like my 3rd child.
3rd, okay.
Yeah, I was like, it was a shock. It was like a holy horse shit. Our lives are about to be rocked because we were only planning for 2 kids.
Okay.
And so this, rocked our world. And she's such a blessing. But I'm like, what am I going to do with my fitness? So I taught up to 8 months pregnant, and it was a perfect pregnancy. And I had Willow, and things went wrong. And they, with the epidural, they gave me a little hole in my spine, and
Ouch.
It wasn't caught. And so they released me, and I knew there was a problem. And I went back to the emergency room, and they released me again. and I went home, and I knew I wasn't going to make it if I stayed home. I knew my body was starting to shut down.
Like that bad?
It was really bad. It was a deadly fever. So I was starting to get the shakes. And when you stood up is when your head felt like it was the brain elevating from the fluid, because there was that big old hole in my spine. So I started telling my husband, I don't think I'm going to make it. These are my final wishes. Tell my kids this, this, and this, And he rushed me to the emergency room for the final time when they finally realized what was going on. I had a deadly fever and was full of infection, which I spent the next 7 days into the hospital on the infectious floor until they got everything patched up and back to normal, which I will never be back to normal because it left a brain trauma and it left a lesion on my eye nerves. So, that's been tough. That was a tough little trial and tribulation in my life. But I did get back to fitness. Took me a while. Took me a long time because sometimes I have bad brain days and I get a little dizzy.
Yeah. So it's like what happened after you kind of recovered?
Well, I went to the doctor, because I was still dizzy after I got out of the hospital. And I said, there's just something I feel is a little bit off and wrong. When I go shopping or go to places, I noticed that I felt like I was floating. Like my mind wasn't right. I just felt off. So we had to go for MRIs, and that's when they found the lesion. So that was a scary part because, you have a doctor calling you and saying, I found something on your brain. That was
scary.
Yeah, it was definitely. During that same time, I almost died, and my father-in-law died within a week and a half. And so we were just filled with, holy shit balls. Like, what else can life throw at us? It was a really hard time in life, getting through that. But what doesn't kill you makes you damn stronger. It does. It makes you damn stronger. So it's a story. I see why it happened so I could motivate others. Now when you're going through it, you're like, are you for real? Like, what else are you going to throw at me? But I see why it happened now and why everything happened is so I could tell others my story,
Yeah.
So because,
I got the chills right now.
Yeah, it was a hard time. I remember going to the doctor and he said, nobody in life had handled this much trauma in a matter of less than 2 weeks, because we also had a lawsuit thrown at us that same week that my father-in-law died. And I remember I felt like I was in a crippled state, so I took a few months off and I had to recover mentally, physically, had to recover. And I do remember the doctor also saying Ashley, I just want you walking, don't lift weights, don't overdo it. Cause I was dying to get back to insanity, get crazy. So a few months later, I've worked at a few jobs, different gyms, and I managed a local gym in the area. Loved my job. Just loved it. I don't care about the pay. It's the passion, and I wasn't getting paid much, but I just loved what I did. I loved motivating people, and I loved showing up in that fitness atmosphere. When you walk through that door, you turn the music on, and you start jumping around like a 1980s aerobics instructor, which brings me to the only class I've ever taken in my life was with my mom in the late 80s. And she took me to a aerobics class at the Saxton. And I remember just looking around going, holy shit, what is going on here? And we were jumping all around. I'm like, I cannot do this. They were right and left and all around and spin and twirl and,
Sounded pretty good.
It was crazy. I'm like, this is fitness. What the hell? So that was my only class I've ever taken my whole entire life. I was like, this is nuts. And here I am. Years down the road. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So
kind of going back to, when you said you came home and you knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Before you went and they figured out, there was a hole in your spine, right? So obviously you advocated for your own health. And if it wasn't for that, I mean, I feel like, what could have happened? I
went to the ER twice and I just like I'm the person that like I have to be dying to go see a doctor. I'm like the person that rubs the salve on everything. Like even Tessa, she had like a little boo-boo on her leg. I'm like, where's my Amish salve? Like I'm the person rubbing, all natural things on. So for me to go to ER and say, I'm sick, I have a problem, like I wanted them to take me serious and they didn't. They gave me Tylenol and sent me home. So my girlfriend took me back because my husband was working at the time. And she took me back home and she goes, "You're not okay, are you?" And I was trying to sugarcoat it because I had a baby at home, a newborn baby. I wanted to be home with her. And I'm like, "No, I'm fine. I'm fine." And I was trying to sugarcoat it to be fine, but I wasn't. I was dying. I was losing my life.
And you knew it.
I knew it. I absolutely knew it. And I remember my husband, like, I was shaking so bad on the way back to the ER. And I remember there were so many people in the emergency room. It was ridiculous. And I saw the doctor that saw me earlier coming out of the doors. I remember looking at him and stopping him and saying, "I'm not okay." Like, and I was crying. I was just begging for someone to like see that I wasn't okay. And once they put me in a cot, they took my temperature and the nurse goes, "Oh, this thermometer's broke." And she went and got another one. And she's like, "I need help." So then another nurse came over, took it, and then they rushed me back. They realized that I was close to losing my life.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It's freaking insane. Who would have thought having a baby and being in perfect health? Like it was perfect pregnancy. I was teaching fitness the whole entire time. To go from that to matter of delivering and then almost dying, it was crazy.
Yeah. So then, obviously we just talked a little bit about, the recovery and everything. But so at what point, like, were you able to then get back into fitness? Like, how did you get back into it? Like
slow. I wasn't jumping into insanity.
Satisfied customer. Someone beeped. I don't know if you heard that, but
I almost shit my pants. No, it was a slow, just, taking it easy. I think I started off doing some slow yoga, to get back into it. And I wanted to go balls deep back into fitness, but it wasn't going to happen. I had to take my time. And then we were still going through a lot of trauma with losing my father-in-law, and he was a huge anchor in our family. So it was hard. And our legal battle, that was hard to go through. So I was dealing with a lot of shit, a lot of depression, in a bad place. And then just think of a woman having a baby. You have that postpartum depression already, add all this stuff on top of it. It was a hard time.
It's a lot.
It was a lot. It was a freaking lot.
How did you get through it?
How did I get through that? Day by day, literally taking it day by day. I try to stay present in the moment. Today, I don't look at the past. I try not to look at the past much because it'll make you a bitter bitch. So you try to stay present. We cannot accept that tomorrow is taken for granted. It's not. We could die right now. So you really need to stay in the day, worry about today, breathe, and just breathe.
And do goat yoga.
Just do freaking goat yoga.
Yeah.
Just saying, I'm telling you, I spend a lot of time in the barn, laying in the hay with my goats when I get upset, with a bottle of wine. I used to drink a lot of bottles of wine in the barn. And it was, just seriously taking it day by day. And that's how we got through it. And eventually it felt like the worst time of our life. It felt like, holy shit, what else could go wrong? But, you get through those hard times. You just have to stay present and breathe through it and realize there's better days coming. And they will come. It's hard to see it when you're going through all the shit, but they will come eventually. They will come. Just like we're going through a lot of shit right now, everyone is. Everyone here in this world is going through some sort of shit. And there's a better day coming. Like you have to always think of the better days coming because it will come.
Definitely. So let's, talk a little bit. So you've always had the goats?
No.
So like where did the goats come into the picture?
So went back to working at gyms. I worked at the wilkes-barre YMCA for a little bit of time. And I think it was then I decided I wanted a goat. We've always had poultry. We have always had chickens, turkeys, peacocks, guinea hens, geese, but we've never had like a 4-legged animal except for dogs. So I was like, I want a goat. My husband was like, no. He's like the rational one out of the two. Like I'm the
spontaneous.
I have unicorns shooting out of my asshole every day. Like he's like, stop. That's what he says. Every day I have unicorns shooting out of my ass. He's like, let's get real here. You know?
We don't need a goat.
He's like, we don't need a goat. We don't need to add a goat to this. And our barn was filled with like stuff from job sites that my father-in-law had brought. And we had moved into his home. That's after he passed, we were there. So we took over that farm. So the barn was filled with glass and all sorts of stuff. We cleaned it out and it wasn't quite ready, but we went to an Amish auction and without my husband knowing, he said, don't just buy any goat. If you're going to buy a goat, make sure it's the right goat. Well, I just bid on a goat. I overpaid for this male milk goat.
I was going to say, like, what's the right goat? I didn't know there was a right or a wrong kind.
There's like, like not a male milk goat is probably.
It's something you don't want to buy as your first goat.
They're really huge. They turn out to be like a little horse. And I saw him and he was like the most adorable little baby. It came in a little baby bottle in a little cage.
But he was a baby at the time, right?
He was so tiny. He was the most adorable thing. And Amish, like I got to take you to the Amish auction. You will love an Amish auction.
Why? What goes on there?
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy fun. There's just Amish people everywhere and homemade donuts. And
sold.
There's shit everywhere, just like good shit.
Sold at the donuts.
And they're the biggest, most luxurious donuts you've ever had in your whole entire life. And they make them.
Nice.
And pies. And awesomeness, like breakfast sandwiches. We have to go at like 4 a.m, 5 a.m. to get a good spot and a good seat. It's craziness.
Wow.
And there's just acres of stuff, antiques and animals and tractors. And then at noon, there's an Amish chicken barbecue.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's a whole new world out there.
And this is where you found the milk goat.
Nico, our milk goat. So I showed up with my goat and I bought a little leash and I showed up. My husband is like, what did you do? I'm like, we are going to take him in the truck. And I sat with, just like Tess said now, I sat on the truck seat with my goat and there's how it all began. And now we're like 30 some deep in goats.
One goat. Who knew one goat would lead to all of this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you brought Nico home and then you just wanted to what? Get like 1 or 2 more, right?
Yeah, we were like, let's get like, 4 maybe and start a farm. So we started a business name called Buttinhead Farms, which is my husband created the name. And at first I was like, I don't know if I like it. And then it grew on me. So we went to the state and we got our name. And then all I thought was, oh, this is fun. We could have a sign now in our front yard that says Buttonhead Farms and be like a legit farm. So that's like the city girl coming out in me because I'm from Courtdale. So not raised on a farm at all. So I was like, this is fun. We have a name, and put it on a sign. This is so cool. I thought it was just so cool to have my own sign outside that said Buttonhead Farms. So there I was. I got the name and I didn't think anything would come from it. Honestly, in my head, I was like, oh, this is cute. Never in a million years did I see myself as an entrepreneur. Ever. Never came across my head. Here we are.
And now you're doing goat yoga and goat weddings and goat movies and
pimping produce.
And pimping produce.
With the Amish.
Yeah. So you started the goat yoga, right? Pre-pandemic.
Yeah. So 3 years ago, I was working for the gym and this woman that's a very faithful member came to my class, had a picture of a goat on a woman's back doing yoga. She said, Ashley, you're going to do this. And I'm like, I don't know. This is silly, right? She's like, no. Because the people at the gym, the goats started to be their family. I walked into class to teach and they were like, how is Nico? And how are the goats? And everywhere I was going, that was my comfort. If I got into a situation where I was uncomfortable, I'd be like, hey, do you like goats? I have goats. You want to talk about goats? And I'd be really?
In just any anywhere. Social interaction?
Walmart, Target. If somebody was rude to me or uncomfortable or put me in an uncomfortable situation, even aggressive or was upset, I'd be like, do you like goats? I have goats. And like all of a sudden their personality would just be like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, I have goats. You want to talk about goats? Goats are fun. You want to talk about my goat? And they would like loosen up and just start to laugh because that's what goats do to people. They make people laugh. You saw, people love goats.
Yeah. So you started this business.
So I got insured after I went to my insurance agent and he told me I was bleeping crazy. Like I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. So I started Buttinhead Farms Facebook page. And I saw one of my family members at a restaurant and I said, oh, did you like my page? And she goes, I don't know what you're doing. I think it's crazy. I'm scared to like your page and I really want nothing to do with it. Like she was like, you're freaking me out. Like, I think you've lost your damn mind. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to prove her wrong. I'm going to prove the insurance agent wrong. I'm going to prove them all wrong.
Yeah. So what? So you couldn't get, no one wanted to insure it?
Right. Because it's insurance for goats, booze, and people in a fence.
It's a good combination.
So can you imagine? So I did eventually find it. It was quite the task. I found it and I was like, let's go. And I only thought that we were going to maybe do it out in the yard, maybe once a month, throw a class out there, say, hey, we're going to do goat yoga. Because I started practicing and started to train Nico, my milk goat, for goat yoga. So we were doing it out in the yard just as fun. And I was like, And I knew a lot of business owners, like trained a lot of business owners, knew a lot of people in the community. So I started to reach out to them and say, hey, what do you think about doing goat yoga at your restaurant? Like our very first event was Hogs Hollow. And there was it sold out. There was 60 some people in their field, people drinking beer, watching, all these crazy people with goats in their yard. It was just crazy. It was insane. And at first they're like, you're freaking crazy. But then they're like, let's give it a shot. Let's see how it goes. Benny's Brewing was another. We did it on their patio and it was a huge success. And it's great for business because it's bringing a shit ton of people to their business and they're drinking during they're doing it, and it's just something to watch. Even for the patrons sitting there eating dinner, they're watching goats jump on people. It's fun for everybody. It's just fun.
Yeah.
It's just great time.
So how has it grown since then?
Holy shit. It's been. So that first year, we didn't know what to expect. And every event we did sold out. It was crazy. I sent out a couple just Facebook messages. Hey, I do goat yoga. Are you interested in hosting this? And I started just sending them out to a few wineries, breweries to see if anybody, wanted to do it. And we got a lot of great responses. Some were like, no, we're not into that. But the ones that said, hey, I'm game, let's do it. Let's get some dates on there. I'm so proud of the relationships we've had with them that now we book every year. This is our third year. So for the third season, we're booking every month and they're putting us in the book because it's such a success. It's just a great win for everybody. And we grew into goat weddings. So now I'm officiant. And we have, I think, 4 or 5 weddings booked this year. So I did a goat wedding last year. And then we have 4 or 5 booked this year. And that's at Buttinhead Farms. We have movie night with goats. We're 250 people, our max for our place. We watch a movie in the field. And that's awesome. That's just a great time. And then we have the community kids work the stand. So they're able to get some experience, work experience. They get to talk to people. They get to sell popcorn and soda, and they get to work the register. So it's helping them. We have farm volunteers that get to come and they learn life skills and we become family.
Who are the farm volunteers?
So we work there's quite a few that come. We work with Functional Connections. And they send over a lot of kids and some, help us bathe goats. Some just get our goats ready for the season. So some just sit there and just hold them like I'm holding Tessa right now, just to get them used to people. And then we have 2 very special guys, Matt and Robert, and they are like the workhorses of Buttonhead Farms. They are dig a hole, cut wood, build fences. They are just, if I tell them, this is my vision, let's get this done, like they'll figure it out and they'll do it. We'll get them the supplies, and they love hard labor. So that's really cool. And we have our lunches and our dinners together. And we also have farm fitness. So we do boot camps at Buttinhead Farms, and we do yoga, farm yoga. And what else do we do? Basically, I wait for a call that says, can you do this? And I'm game for anything. So in the community, wherever somebody needs something, they'll call and they'll be like, even if it's a band, and they're like, I really am dying to have a concert. I'll be like, what's the date? Let's do it. And we have concerts. We have farm concerts. And that's a great time. And then there's local vendors that get to come. So they're selling the products on our farm. The local fire department, Sweet Valley Fire Department, gets to come and raise money for the fire department because they lost so much money this year due to not having the festival. So they were able to come sell food. We have food trucks come. We have wineries, breweries. And then local artists could come and sing, which they're just dying to sing somewhere, because everything's been shut down. So it's basically when I get a phone call, they're like, yep, for this challenge. I'm like, game on, let's do it. So basically, Buttonhead Farms is just completely community. It's all about community. It's where there's a need in the community and we fill it.
That's really cool.
It's like the best part of my job is the phone call. Like, hey, I have this crazy ass thing I want to do. Let's do it.
And hey, you're crazy, right? That's so they say.
A little crazy. Crazy goat lady?
Yeah.
I think that's what I heard many times.
Is that what they call you on the street?
Probably a lot of other things on the street too. Depends on who you're asking.
Yeah, we won't mention those.
Crazy goat lady is one though.
So how has the pandemic affected your business?
So when we shut everything down, we do also a lot of universities. So last year I worked my ass off to book everything for 2020, and everything was booked solid. And then in a drop of a hat in a week, my whole year went like a dumpster fire. It was just everything. Every contract went up in flames. I spent a lot of time in bed crying because everything I worked so hard on just blew up. I'm like, holy shit balls. You think you have a business plan and you think it's going to go so well. And just like that, freaking a pandemic happens. Who would have thought? So we had some Amish friends, and we met some Amish friends at some local, farmers markets. And for me personally, I wasn't going to a grocery store. I felt it wasn't safe. Just for me personally, I didn't like the fact going into a grocery store and buying. I'd rather go to the farm and support the local farmer through them. So I would drive an hour to get milk from the local milk farm, and I would go to a local grower of lettuce, and I would go pick up all my lettuce. And it was like a full-time job feeding my family. So I hooked up with this Amish community, and word spread, and they found me to be their marketer where I can market for them because they're really good at growing. They're they're badass at growing. And that's what they do good. Me, I'm a shitty grower. I'm a really shitty grower. My goats, anything I put in the ground, my goats eat. So we've tried. The goats eat everything. They hop a fence and your whole garden will be gone in a hot second. So they asked me, hey, Ashley, can I stay in my fields and do what I do? And could you sell our product? So I became an Amish community marketer.
So what did you do?
I sold their produce. I pimp produce.
Produce pimp.
I am a produce pimp. And that's how...
It's got a good ring to it.
I know. That was pretty good. Produce pimp.
I love it.
So my phone was continuously ringing off the hook from random Amish people like Moses and Benjamin and, Amos. And my phone
These are the guys?
Yeah. I mean, it was just blowing up. It just spread like wildfire because they're a very...
tight-knit.
Very tight. So once they knew that I could sell their products, I was getting phone calls from all over. A lady selling flowers, a lady selling cheese, a lady selling, camel's milk, like it was just crazy, like blew up. So we did that and it kept us busy. And then also our community would come volunteer to work the stand. Because if you didn't get there, we opened at 9 and like we were wiped out by like 9:30. Like the line was up my driveway and down the road. It was crazy. And we never expected such a response, but the people loved it. And I would go into the greenhouse and like show them where their food was coming from. And I would literally pick it and bring it to my house. And that was as fresh as it could get. And there was only 2 hands it was in, the grower and myself. So it was a really safe way to get through the pandemic, with your groceries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then are you still doing that? Like I know things that eventually opened back up.
Yeah, we did have to stop that because our first priority is our goat business. That is my passion. The produce was great. I love food. So that was but we did have to shut it down. Springtime, we'll probably do it again. We'll probably do early spring, do our Amish pimping. Oh, that sounded bad.
It's okay.
Produce pimping.
Yeah.
Not Amish pimping.
Yeah.
But the Amish people, the community calls me just for random chats. And I love that because we all became like this. I'm so far from Amish, you could tell.
Yeah, I see that.
I'm so far blown. But the fact that we could get together and we could, you'll see an Amish man in the passenger seat of my truck and we'll be driving with them. And you might even see us, like the other day, we were sitting at a local restaurant with an Amish man. Like those are things you're going to see because they don't look at us as different. Like these are great people that we are friends. And they don't look at us that we're any different than them.
Do you get funny looks though from like other people when it's like you and an Amish person?
Well, yeah, I got an Amish guy with me.
Yeah.
Straw hat. I mean, it's a little odd for Sweet Valley.
Yeah.
And he sat at our table and he comes to our house and, if they need a ride somewhere, they'll call and they'll be like, "Can you give us a ride?" And I appreciate that. They live far from here, but I don't mind. They've done so much for us. We have to be grateful for what they did for us. They provided us with organic produce, when we needed it. And it was delicious. I had the best damn tomatoes you could ever imagine. I did.
Nice.
They're very good tomatoes.
Cool.
Very good.
So then what? So what happened after that?
Then we opened up and we did our events. We had to do them a little differently, of course. Our sold out events are normally from 60 to 98 people.
And this is the goat yoga.
Goat yoga. So a normal class for goat yoga is from 60 to 98 people. That our largest class was 98 at Misericordia. So of course, we're still going to our universities, but now we have to do 25 people and wear a mask. We have to socially distance. And instead of using one fence, we have to use maybe 2 or 3. So, but I'm grateful at least we could work. And we could kind of find a semi-normalcy because people are cooped up and they need to find, because we're really struggling right now, and we need to find normalcy because we need help.
Yeah.
We need goat therapy.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's kind of my next question. How does this help people? How do the goats help people? And kind of also explain, like for those that are listening and may not even understand what goat yoga is.
Yeah.
Give it a little plug.
So goat yoga, it's animal assisted therapy. So a lot of people that come through my gate, the first thing they say is, "I don't do yoga. I am here for the goats and I do not do yoga. But you can do my yoga." Because like we said before, can't is not an option.
Right. I said that by accident.
So I'm not like any other instructor. I will guide you through what you need to know and I will make sure you're comfortable. Were you comfortable on the stacks?
Mostly.
Yeah, it was a little uncomfortable being so high. I was a little uncomfortable.
Were you?
Height, yeah, I felt like me, you, and the goat were going down.
Yeah, but we made it. We made it. Tessa's all right.
We're all fine. But we did some yoga on the stacks and, But if you come to a normal one of my classes, there's no expectations. You feel comfortable and you will leave loving yoga. And like a lot of people, I train thousands in a season, thousands of people. And I could tell you, they always come back Like I don't just I'm not a person that threw goats into this and then hired an instructor to come. Like a lot of goat yoga, if you go to some events, maybe in New Jersey or New York, it's an instructor that was hired and got thrown into a pen with goats. You're not getting that with Buttinhead Farms. You're getting a person with passion that loves goats, loves fitness, and I freaking love people. And I love teaching people. So the passion comes through our business. So how we grew into such a successful business is giving people an experience like no other. Like I say, it's unforgettable. It's 100% unforgettable. So when they leave, they're like, what the hell? I tell them, I'm like, you're going to feel like you're on a roller coaster ride and you're going to be like all zen and shit in the beginning. We go through this wonderful, twisty turny. And then all of a sudden we're dropping it like it's hot, to TI. And we're dancing. We come back and then we do some partner stuff. So that's fun. And there's like a whole rhyme and reason to my whole entire show. It's a show. It's an event and it's entertainment. It's not like we're not sitting there going namaste, getting downward dog, and let's, shoot a unicorn out of our asshole now. No, you're getting an experience, a good time. And it's something that you're always going to remember. And that's how we grew, from word of mouth. So as people coming to an event, and they were like, that was freaking fantastic. And they went to their work. And then all of a sudden their job is hiring us to come in to do team building. So we do a lot of corporate team building. So this year we were at Great Wolf Lodge and I did team building for their entertainment team. That was a good time. Those entertainment Great Wolf Lodge girls, they're good. They were fun.
They enjoyed goat yoga.
Oh, they were good. They were fun. We dropped it like a hot. Oh, it was so much fun. We had a lot of dancing in that class. It was a good time. That was probably the most entertaining class this year, the Great Wolf Lodge entertainment team. And then we got to go to the water park and then we got to dance with them on, in the lobby of Great Wolf Lodge. That was cool. I love my job. I love traveling and I love the different experiences.
Yeah, so people don't have to go to Buttonhead Farm, right? You obviously you've said it, but just so people
we travel
listening.
A lot.
Yeah.
So and there's this season we have booked, we're going to be traveling 3 hours away. This year we're going to the Finger Lakes and we'll be doing our events there. I should knock on wood that things get better. We're allowed to. But so far we have a lot of fun things. The courthouse we have booked this year, which is going to be very exciting to do a courthouse event on the front lawn of the courthouse. Goats.
Who's attending that?
The lawyers, of the Luzerne County Courthouse. So I'm very excited.
Are they excited?
They will be excited. I'm trying to figure out what song we're going to drop it like it's hot.
Nice.
It's going to be a great time.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's how we grew too. It was giving people a great experience. It was something that they thought they were coming to just a regular yoga class with some freaking goats. And they thought it'd be like, whoo. And they left and they were like, wow, that was a freaking roller coaster ride that I want to take all the time. So a lot of the times people buy tickets the first time and be like, I'll buy tickets here the whole season. And they'll always come back. So it's those faces. I love seeing the faces come back. Every time we go visit that area, they're always back. And I love that. I love having, I love goat fans. Goat fans are good people.
I have my next question is, do you like goats?
A little bit.
A little? Yeah, I don't think, I don't know.
I like them a lot.
Okay.
I like goats a lot. I love people. There's good people.
What do you like better, goats or people?
I like both. I like both the same. I'm going to go with the same.
All right.
I'm going to go with, I like them both the same. I like goats with people.
So you like people better when they're with goats?
I like people better with their, That's true. I love to see people walk in my fence and the smiles you see. I see so much happiness and so many smiles, and it's life-changing. Like, it's incredible because I never imagined when I bought that first goat years back, I never imagined changing people's lives through goats. And it sounds so weird to somebody that doesn't see it. Like every day I see it. And it's amazing. We went to a trauma center and I took goats to the trauma center. And those kids were just tickled pink. Like they were so happy and just love them. Like Tessa, they wouldn't let go of. And I'm working with them twice a month now. They're going to come to the farm and we're going to do goat therapy.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. And so, I occasionally I've seen you post some pictures on Facebook of you doing yoga poses in places that are kind of like, I guess would say like unusual. And the one that kind of actually caught my attention and how we connected, you were doing a yoga pose in the dentist chair at Dr. Lauren Grossman's office.
That's my favorite. I love Dr. Grossman.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, he is. And I like I said, I think that's kind of how we connected. I think I sent you like a message or something and just said like, that was just really cool. And the reason it really kind of caught my eye is, because you were it was an unusual place and the whole bit. And Dr. Grossman, of course, did his amazing yoga pose along with you. But like I think I messaged you and said like, hey, it kind of reminded me of myself when this whole on the stacks thing started, because it was same thing here. Like I sat on a pallet of paper and it was me in an unusual place just acting funny and silly. And 2 years later, I'm now a year into this podcast.
Isn't it funny how we end up in these things?
It's crazy.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
I actually blew that picture up for Dr. Grossman. I have to get it down to him.
Oh.
It was funny.
Better get it down there.
So my mission with that's just something new I came up with. It was people, like random people that have never done yoga before. And I'm like, strike a yoga pose with me. And they're like, what?
Kind of like me today. However, I've done a couple like real basic classes, but just at home by myself.
Yeah.
I'm not too good. I'm not flexible, as you've said.
Don't say that.
What did I say?
Don't say you're not flexible. Oh.
I just got to work on it a little.
You have to work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're setting your mindset. Your mindset is, going a little negative. We want to be positive, Patty, today.
Thank you.
So you're going to be like, I'm a badass yogi.
I'm a badass yogi.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. So you were saying about kind of putting people like in these positions to
just get them out of their comfort zone. And what I've learned is today I did my garbage man. And he was so funny. I love my garbage man. He is amazing. And he comes down and he's like, I said, you're going to do yoga with me today. Why? I pay you. And he was like, you're what? And the kid was like laughing. He's like, ha 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 ha. And he's like, you want me to do yoga with you? I'm like, get out of the truck. You're going to do this. And he did. And he texted me and he said, I enjoyed that so much. And it was like literally just doing a yoga pose and taking a picture, but it made people smile and it made him smile. And he's like, my phone's blowing up because of the picture you posted. Like he was so excited. He's like, that's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And it was just getting people to smile doing it because Dr. Grossman was smiling. He was like, what do I do? What do I do with my leg? And that was hysterical. The lady's taking the picture and it was so funny.
Yeah.
And then I did the hairdresser and everyone like local that I come in contact with just randomly, I'll be like, strike a pose. And it's been fun. You're
going to have to, the next thing that's going to happen, I'll tell you what's going to happen next is you're going to start a goat podcast now.
Goat podcast.
Yeah. Goat yoga podcast.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not very tech savvy with these like things
right.
that we're talking into.
Yeah,
no?
Me neither.
No?
You just figure it out.
I'm old school, like paper and pen. Maybe
And maybe start a written blog.
A written blog? Okay. I'll be positive, Patty. Yes, I will.
And I'll get more flexible.
I'm a badass podcaster in the future.
Yeah. So, I'll changing gears a little bit, but I saw also on Facebook you were posting about this 75-day hard. What is that?
Yeah. So I got into during COVID, like I said, I'd visit a lot of breweries, a lot of wineries, and I can outdrink a lot of people. And I teach some of my best classes, like a bottle of wine and very flexible.
Does the wine make you more flexible?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Pour me a glass.
Very loosey-goosey, very free. Like I could put on a show like you wouldn't believe, And so the first thing I do is run in the winery, get my glass of wine, and set up our fencing and stuff with my husband and prep. But I was doing a little bit too much. And I realized I would teach a boot camp and then go sit on my deck, grab my Susquehanna Brewing Company beer, and I was drinking entirely way too much. And coming from a father that was an alcoholic, I realized that I don't want to go down that path and I want to catch myself before it was getting too bad. So I taught a big farm class and there was a photographer there and he was taking photos and I realized I was starting to gain some weight, in my midsection. And then one of my clients that was there said she was starting the 75 hard program and I needed somebody to kick my ass. Like I could teach, but my diet was shitty. Everything was starting. It was just, I was letting myself go. I was more focused on other people and training them and dealing with traveling. And I kind of just was letting everything go. And I realized I wasn't being a great role model for my boot campers, that I'm trying to get them fit, and then we're going to sit and have a beer afterwards, shit, I got to pull my shit together. So I called her the next day and I said, hey, sell me that book. I want to see what it's all about. So you have to drink a gallon of water a day. You have to work out twice, one outdoor workout, one indoor workout. You have to read 10 pages of a self-help book. And you have to take a picture of yourself to watch the progress. And I think that's it, off the top of my head. And so you have to do these challenges every day for biggest thing, give up alcohol.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. No alcohol. And you have to stick to a diet of your choice, but any diet, sticking to it. So for me, it was just clean eating. I'm just not one of those dieters. I like clean eating, perimeter of the store. If it's one ingredient, it's great for you. If it's processed, it's shit for you. That's my training. And that's how I roll. So I wanted to eliminate chips because I'm a chip whore. So I will down a bag of Middlesworth in the hot second.
Me too.
Oh, I know. It's a Satan.
Mm-hmm.
It's really great.
It's a struggle.
It's really bad. Just gone. Give me an SBC beer and Middlesworth chips.
Gone.
So I wanted to do it. I wanted to challenge myself, and people's reaction when I told them I was giving up alcohol, I realized I needed to give up alcohol for the 75 days. So I did. People started to watch my journey and they were coming back and saying, it was them actually that pushed me to finish. It was amazing, the feedback I got off of it. And I did. I completed 75 days and there was amazing results. I gained a ton of muscle. I lost my wine belly and then I was off for a week and now I'm doing another phase of it, which is a little bit more of challenges. So I'm still sober and I'm excited. And I feel a lot better. I'm clearer in my head. I feel good. I had a glass of wine during that week and I felt like shit after. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do another challenge. So I did. I'm on another challenge. And now I know the feeling though of giving up alcohol for that time period. And I feel like I can help others too. So I think it's in 2 weeks. I have another program, Let That Shit Go, which is it's not your typical yoga program. It's a lot of heavy music and a lot of hitting the yoga mat and a lot of yelling. So we yell a lot during it and we drink beer normally during it. It's a really great time. My husband loves it. It's his favorite yoga. He really lets all his frustrations out. But that's called Let That Shit Go. So I've transformed it into a program for everyone. I eliminated the beer drinking and it's going to be a stress relief program. So we're going into a recovery center. I'm going to teach it in 2 weeks there. I just had to revamp it. And then I feel like I could share my story and how, what I've been doing. And I realized through any recovery, keeping the mind busy, that's the biggest thing. You have to keep your mind busy. Even with depression, if you feel like you're going into a slump and you're getting into a dark place, which we're all guilty of it, no matter how awesome people's lives seem on social media and how wonderful and their cruises are and their wonderful, perfect family and their fucking dresses, for Easter. I don't care that everybody goes through dark times and we have to figure out how to get ourselves out of those times. And for me personally, it was keeping my mind busy because I was always freaking worrying about drinking water. I have to drink a gallon of water. Do you know how hard it is to drink a gallon of water?
Yeah, hard.
That's hard. I found myself pissing on the side of the road so many times. It was ridiculous. And one was at a dairy farm. And I looked out and I said, I gotta go. I had my husband pull over and the cows were staring at me like, and the one looked at me and goes, "Mrr." I'm like, I'm sorry.
Sorry, dude.
I'm doing 75 hard. I gotta pee.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So how does, someone like me, who's, I'd say, very inexperienced at yoga, how does someone like me or somebody that's listening get started?
Doing yoga?
Yeah.
Come to my class.
Good answer.
You need to come to my class. I'll take care of you.
So what's coming up?
What's coming up? Well, right now, we're closed for the season. I just have a lot of contracts going. May is mental illness month for children. So I have some programs I'm writing for that. We have my trauma center girls. I'll be working with them. So this is actually the season for me. I've taken this season to get my brain right, get my body right, and create programs for the upcoming season. So April is when we fully launch everything. And then from April to fall is when it goes crazy.
Goat yoga crazy.
It's crazy. It's goat crazy.
Love it.
Lots of marrying people and movies with people. And of course, we'll be getting more goats, some baby goats. So we'll have a lot of baby goats and we'll have our universities. And I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm ready for spring. I'm over the snow.
I hear you on that.
Sick of shoveling.
Yeah.
And goats hate snow.
Do they?
So we have to shovel a path for them all the way around. It's hard. It's rough.
Yeah. Tessa does not like snow.
We hate snow.
By the way, Tessa is joining us for those that are listening. If anyone has heard any strange sounds during this podcast, it is not either one of us. It is Tessa.
And she's got a lot of gas right now.
Yeah.
Do you hear her gas?
I can hear her.
She's bubbling.
She is.
It's not coming out of her ass, though. It's coming out of her throat.
Thankfully. So how can our listeners learn more about Buttinhead Farms?
Well, we have buttonheadfarms.com, our website. And then we have a Facebook page, which I'm really active on. That's like my place where I post everything that's crazy going on. Because my husband, we should have a reality show. It's insane. Like right now, I've had him on like a zero budget of all the stuff in life. Like I decided to get my budgeting shit together. So I put him on.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I'm very extreme. If you haven't noticed.
Yes,
I usually go balls deep in everything I do. So I decided I'm going to get our finances together this month. And I put him on like a zero budget for beer.
I saw that on Facebook.
She's very upset about. And I gave us, for a family of 5, I put us on $100 grocery budget, which was insane. Who does that?
Yeah.
I spent $58 the other day. I'm like, damn it, that's more than half my budget.
You're going to be hungry.
Well, we have a lot of, beef.
Okay.
We buy a cow a year. So, I have that in the freezer, but it's going to be rough. So then I asked him to pick up coffee creamer and he wanted to like dig one in me. So he's like, there's no coffee creamer budget. There's no money for that. I'm like,
Wasn't in the budget.
Wasn't in the budget. The pig like grabbed its water. We have pigs too. And there's like a heater in their water bucket. And I was on the toilet and you could see outside on the farm from your toilet. And it's the most entertainment happens when you're on the toilet. And so I look out and my husband's got his muck boots on and his Carhartts. And he's got 2 huge pails of water. And the pig looks at him, grabs the coil out of the water bucket and runs like hell. This big pig. I mean, like I'm talking like 400-pound pig.
Wow.
And runs like hell with the heater. And my husband's screaming because, that's how they heat their bucket. So he's screaming. He's running across the field with these buckets of water. And I'm just like, I have to giggle on the toilet because it's just hysterical. And then we have this German Shorthaired Pointer. And we have a huge turkey. And they're always fighting. Like, the dog thinks he's playing, but the turkey really wants to kill the dog. And it should be the other way around. So you look out the door or the window and you see the turkey chasing Jake, and he's like, "Oh, let's play." And he's chasing them all around the field. It's hysterical. And then we also have turkeys that fight with cars. So they just circle your car the whole entire time and fight with themselves through the,
Through the reflection?
Yeah. They think there's a turkey in the car. So they like fight with the cars all the time.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's always like these little things going on. There's
you need to start that reality TV show.
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It makes you giggle and appreciate the craziness of your life.
So what else? Instagram?
Instagram. Yep. We have Instagram. I'm like not so great on there, but I try.
But you're active on Facebook.
Yeah, active on Facebook, Instagram, and then we have our website. But anything that you're game for, like reach out, say, let's try this. I'm game for everything.
And do you have goat merch on your site?
Oh, yes. Well, yeah. Our new line will be coming out, but we,
Get your goat merch.
We got goat merch. We got some pretty cool goat merch.
Nice.
You see my plaid?
I did. Yeah. I saw it on the back.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
It is.
A local lady. So I try to support local every single way. Everything I do is local. I try to find a person that's local and say, hey, like I gave her my t-shirt and I said, can you sew it on the back? She was like, sure. So we use local for everything. We love our community and they've been so good to us. They've treated us so good. And so we try to give back in any way we can to them. Nice. We're all about community.
Really cool.
It's not about the dollar. It's about the community and how we can help them.
And the goats.
And the goats. It's all about the goats.
Yeah. And before we end, I also have to give a little shout out to my friend Matt Matusik for helping you.
Bath Tessa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get Tessa ready. Tessa took a nice bath indoors today.
Yeah.
She got pampered.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. He was drying her off and everything.
Yeah.
Yep. So Matt is he's a caseworker and he works on our farm with Robert. And we had like a relaxed day. Normally they're hauling ass on the farm, but today was a little bit relaxed because there was so much snow. My husband didn't want to split wood. They're actually building a goat paradise in our woods. So spring is going to be phenomenal. Like I see it. I have the vision. It's just going to be fantastic. It's this huge circle and it's just goat paradise. It's going to be fantastic. So spring, that's going to be coming and some new ideas. Mine's always running, so I'll be coming out with some new ideas for some goating adventures.
Nice. We'll follow you on Facebook.
Kick ass, never kiss ass. That's my motto.
I like it.
I did a graduation, and any graduation I do, I always write kick ass, never kiss ass. Something to stand for. Kick ass, never kiss ass.
Love it.
Perfect.
Anything else?
Namaste.
Thank you for that. That was excellent. All right. On the Stacks podcast, Buttinhead Farms, Ashley Raspen, and Tessa. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
If you'd like to learn more about the On the Stacks podcast, be sure to search the hashtag On the Stacks on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. We'll catch you next time on the Stacks.